I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, October the 7th, brought to you in part by Norbrook. Norbrook's generic pharmaceutical products are made to the same FDA standards for safety, efficacy, and manufacturing as name brand or Pioneer products. Ask your veterinarian about the full range of Norbrook generic products. For more information, go to norbrook.com. Mandates cost producers? Now I'm referring to a publication by Texas A&M University about these mandates that we're asking for to save the industry, for asking for a minimum requirement of negotiated cash trade in your fed cattle arena. Now Texas A&M University and College Station is so far removed from commercial fed cattle marketing that they have to pay admission to even watch. And this statement that they put out is basically a re-release from the North American Meat Institute, which is really a trade organization or trade association that represents your meat and poultry mafia. So they have put out that these mandates that we're asking for, and we're very close to getting, mind you, would cost producers millions and even billions of dollars over a 10-year period, and would have the opposite effect than what we're looking for, which what we're looking for is competition, price transparency, and negotiated trade in your fed cattle arena. It warns folks against increasing packing capacity. Are you kidding me? That's exactly what we need to break up this monopoly that we're facing right now in the fed cattle arena. But it's just unbelievable that they put that out. And we're just shaking our head that they would even stamp their letterhead of Texas A&M University to this publication or this press release. But it's very, very frustrating. They're saying that these alternative marketing agreements are the best way to go. These sweetheart formula deals are the best way to go. All you have to do is look at what's going on right now. And right now we've got our fed cattle in the southern plains, which are not nearly as high in quality as far as grading quality as the northern plains in the Midwest, selling at a $2 premium. Now the guys that raise the best quality fed cattle in the world are in Iowa and Nebraska, and they sell the least on some kind of a formula deal or an alternative market agreement. They kind of know what they're doing. They've been doing it for many generations out there. And the fact is that they're just not getting paid for it, and this publication goes on to say that if you're selling cattle and you want to get paid on quality, the best quality, you've got to get into one of these marketing agreements, which eliminates competition. That's the way to go. But you know, packers can pay more for cattle anytime that they want to. If they want the best cattle, all they have to do is go out and give more for them. They just don't want to do that. All of these alternative marketing agreements and formula sweetheart deals, all they reward is volume. That's all they care about is volume. You know, carcasses hanging on a hook. And we're seeing that is just so blatant to anybody that understands what's going on in this country, and the fact that we're selling at a $2 premium in the southern plains on commodity type cattle to the northern plains just backs that up completely. But it was very disheartening to see them come out and put their letterhead, like I said, on this North American Meat Institute statement that had been previously released in the most part. But you know, the North American Meat Institute, like I said, you know, is a trade association that represents your meat and poultry mafia. It's been long established that your higher ups in USDA in supervision and running your agriculture marketing service, they're guaranteed a spot at North American Meat Institute, a cheesy type deal once they retire if they want to go in there. You just go back and look at the heads that they've give those positions to from USDA. And to think that when we're looking for competition, and I mentioned on our last visit that anything worth having was only gained through some type of a competition. And if you think we can market something, market a product, a commodity, without some type of a competition to achieve a market, you're just kidding yourself. But that was very, very frustrating to see released middle of the week here and widely published. Let's look at your board on Wednesday. October live cattle futures up $1 even at 123.82. We're continuing to see more of our technical support that's carrying over and likely to continue because they were so oversold as we saw over the last month and a half. December live cattle futures up 37 cents at 128.22. Your back months of live cattle up 32 cents to up 75. October feeder cattle up 70 cents at 156.80. In November up $1.25 at 158.12. Look at your back months of feeder cattle futures. They were down 32 cents, and that was your farthest out traded month, September of next year, 2022. As you get closer up on your out months, they were up as much as $1.60. Your December corn Chicago Board of Trade futures were also down 5 1/4, which lent a little bit more support at 532 1/4. Fat cattle trade, the little dab of negotiated cash trade that we have that we're trying to build upon, and as we're trying to build upon that, we're looking at a House Ag Committee hearing that's happening here on Thursday. Chuck Grassley is going to be speaking on there. He's a big champion of getting these mandates that I've just earlier talked about have been put down by your North American Meat Institute and some of our largest universities, which are well respected in ag research, but have no idea what's going on in our commercial marketing. And that publication that they put out was mostly sided with research from other universities other than Texas A&M that were paid by NCBA through your checkoff dollars to say that what we're really looking for in negotiated trade is not the best idea for continuation of this industry. But I'm telling you right now, we're hanging by a thread. If we don't get some of these mandates for minimum negotiated cash trade, we can just throw this whole deal out. We used to have a healthy pork producers, pork feeders, hog producers in this country, and we lost that over 20 years ago. And people used to raise hogs. They took pride in raising the best hogs. We used to have feeder pig auctions, just like we have feeder cattle auctions now, where people are proud about bringing a big string of feeder pigs in and selling them to the highest bidder. Used to be a good way for people to diversify their farm operation. That's completely been lost. And we're at the point now where we're just about to lose our cattle industry too. But it is so frustrating for those of us that see what's going on out here. But what we really need to do is we need to take Chuck Grassley's 5014 bill, and we need to take Deb Fisher's Cattle Market Transparency Act, and we need to put those together. We've got to get something that everybody can agree upon while the iron is hot, because it is going out fast. And we've had a lot of push. We've had support from your White House administration, which you wonder what's going on there. But they are trying to blame the inflation that's going on in our households to basically your cost of your groceries, and in particular your meat products, which your meat products have gone up tremendously due to the gouging of your meat packers. So we've got to take advantage of that while we can take advantage of it right now. So whatever we can get, and it may not be as aggressive as 5014. What we really need to do is go with some ideas that have been tossed around, and I'm kind of on the know because of my relationships with the United States Cattlemen's Association. We can get something that we can agree upon, we can compromise with, and likely if we can't get 50%, which they have in Iowa right now, and they're in the 30s in Nebraska, maybe we can settle on 40% and not have a mandate over 40% negotiated cash. But we've got to get something down here in the Southern Plains where we've been running so far behind anything that's healthy. But, there's been talk about taking an average of the last 18 months and going with that as kind of a set level for your percentage of negotiated trade in your Southern Plains. And it would benefit your Northern Plains big time too. You look right now and the Southern Plains is trading at a $2 premium to your Northern Plains when these packers are saying that they want high quality. It's just hard to believe. But we've got to get something done. We're going to look at that House Ag Committee hearing today on Thursday and see if they can't get some consensus and get together and push something through. But if we don't get something done here right now, our days are numbered for having any kind of an industry, basically, because it's a trickle-down deal. We've got to have leverage in our fed cattle arena to trickle down on our feeder cattle, for those that are feeding the cattle, to trickle down to our calf prices on backgrounding type cattle, which eventually trickles down to your cow-calf producer, which is our cornerstone of our rural economy. We've got to have this, guys, and I implore you to go out and talk to people, your lawmakers, those that can make a difference, to get behind some of these minimum negotiated cash mandates that we absolutely got to have. And it doesn't help when we've got a university that's well respected in the ag industry throwing in with somebody like your North American Meat Institute, which is basically a mafia type deal. Our little dab of fat cattle trade, negotiated cash, and that's the only thing we can talk about is the little dab of negotiated cash trade we have, because we don't get to see the sweetheart deals. Well, Deb Fisher's Cattle Market Transparency Act has asked for a library of these sweetheart formula deals so that people can see what's in them. But we don't see any of that. So the only thing that we see, the only thing that we can sink our teeth into is the little dab of negotiated true cash trade that we have. And what we saw on Wednesday was Iowa sold 3,500 head, only 7,400 head so far this week, with negotiated cash trade on a live basis from 122 to 123, a little bit of dress trade from 193 to 196. Nebraska, 13,600 head, which is a pretty decent movement in these days and times. On Wednesday, 20,000 head so far for the week. Live sales, steers and heifers, from 122 to 124, and pretty much a spread between there with your weighted averages in the 123 range, and dress trade from 193 to 196. Kansas had 9,000 head of negotiated cash trade on Wednesday, 11,600 head for the week, 123 to mostly 124, and a few steers on the northern end of Kansas there at 196 dressed. Texas, 6,000 head on Wednesday, only 6,300 head for the week. You remember those 300 head were on the Texas cash pool by Consolidated Beef Producers on Tuesday. But live sales steers and heifers in Texas from 123 to 124 and a quarter, mostly 124, and you wonder why is Texas trading at a $2 premium to the Northern Plains whenever your packers are saying that they want high quality product. And we know that the highest grading quality product as far as beef fed finished cattle is in your Midwest and your Northern Plains. Box beef cutout values were kind of down. They've been coming off those inflated levels where your packers were gouging their customers and eventually your consumers by cranking up those price levels. They're still plenty high for your packers to be able to pay. your cattle feeders and your producers a fair price for cattle, but they don't want to do it. Choice cuts on Wednesday afternoon, $286.62, down $1.09. Selects down $4.87 at $262.91. Your slaughter or harvest so far this week has been running at a pretty decent clip without too many slowdowns. 363,000 through Wednesday. That's 11,000 more than last week, 8,000 more than your same week a year ago. Let's talk about what else is going on. Another thing that I saw of interest is that Brazil, which is the home base for two or out of our four or half of our big packers, of our big four packers, Brazil in September exported 195,000 metric tons of beef. That was an all-time record. Included in that 195,000 metric tons was 123,000 to China, which was also a record. You wonder why we can't tap into that China market for beef? Because Brazil has completely got it dominated. But let's talk about your feeder cattle market in your sale barns. On Wednesday, your real-time index on DV auction ended the day on Wednesday at 151.80. That was up 80 cents compared to Tuesday's close. So your feeder cattle selling pretty good, helped out by our futures, which are benefiting from technical support. Wish it was fundamental. We do have fundamental support, but your futures traders don't pay any attention to that. But your big sales on Wednesday, OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, 5,900 head there. Feeder steers sold $1 to $2 higher. Feeder heifers were mostly steady. Those feeder heifers that were not yearlings, just big heifer calves, $2 to $3 lower, and that's to be expected. Your weaned calves in El Reno sold steady to $2 higher. Unweaned or short weaned calves with a lower undertone selling there. Winter livestock, Dodge City, Kansas, about 3,000 head on Wednesday. Feeder cattle there steady to $2 higher. Calves mostly steady. A stick-out deal at Dodge City was 52 head of 893-pound steers, bringing $159, and that's a good quote there. And we're still getting good quotes on yearling feeder cattle and stick-out calf consignments. But you guys that think that this problem in our fed cattle marketing arena is not going to trickle down, just wait until someday whenever you take your cattle to the auction and there's only one or two buyers there to buy those. How much competition and what kind of price do you think you're going to get on those once that happens as we continue to progress into this vertical integration? Let's look at some of our other quotes around the circuit. South Central Regional Stockyards in Vienna, Missouri. That's the Patton family there. They had a whale of a sale on Wednesday. They sold 74 head of 502-pound steer calves at $191. Big time quote there. Let's talk about Creston Livestock Auction in Creston, Iowa. Look at this automated market report from Cattle Market Central through DV Auction there. You see your best tested weights. They were on your steers. Big feeding steers, 394 head of 7-weight feeder steers in Creston, Iowa, averaged 766 at 161.21 on your weighted average price on 7-weight steers. 348 head of 8-weight steers in Creston averaged 847 pounds at 157.45 on the average. At the head of sale, Bassett, Nebraska, Bassett Livestock Auction. That continues to be the source for our biggest feeder cattle quotes up in the Sandhills of Nebraska. Best cattle in the world are raised right there. They've got farmer feeders from Iowa and eastern Nebraska going in there and buying those cattle, and they can make your nation and your world's best fat cattle out of these feeder cattle. But look at the automated report there. And your big feeding steers, which was the only good comparison there, were $2 to $5 higher than the last sale, which was 2 weeks ago. But look at your best tested weights, and they were also on yearling feeder cattle. I know we're selling a lot of calves right now, but we're in the middle of harvest. Those people that raise the best kind of calves right there will finish harvest, wean those calves, and then sell them if they don't background them themselves. But look at your 7-weight or 8-weight steers there. 489 head of 8-weight feeder steers in Bassett, Nebraska averaged 871. That's on the top side of your 8 weights at 163.86 on your weighted average price. Wow. 773 head of your 9 weight steers in Bassett averaged 948 at 159.14 on your weighted average price. You look at your heifers, 647 head of 8 weight heifers averaged 852 at 150.18 on your weighted average price, and 477 head of big 9 weight yearling feeder heifers averaged 936 at 146.87. Best quote that I saw anywhere on Wednesday, of course, come out of Bassett Livestock Auction. And your Zach Tran top quote for the day: 53 head of 1,007 pound big feeder steers bring $159. And that's your feeder flash for Thursday.